Hey everybody, I'm Bems.
And I'm Ace, and this is Serving Up the Tea. We are two girls with one big serve coming to talk to you about tennis, the sport that we love. We hope that with this podcast, we can bring new people on board and bring you all the news about the tour and everything that's going on in tennis. So take it away, Bems.
Yeah, you said it really well, actually. But I want to kind of get started with a question I love to ask. What's tea?
Woo! So what's tea? From the past few weeks on tour, I think the most tea-worthy news was Tommy Paul's girlfriend damaging his neck when he won at Queens. So I think this brings up a few topics. Firstly, it's like the wives and girlfriends of tennis who have like been gaining more prominence.
They're definitely making it like a career.
It's a full career. It's a whole genre of influencing, which is like the tennis girlfriend. There are quite a few of them, and I follow some of them. I do like their vlogs because they give us like inside look into like, yeah, I guess like not just the wifey perspective, but also just like an insider perspective on what the players are doing while they're at their tournaments, while they're traveling, and what it, I guess, takes to take care of them, because a lot of them assume that role of like being the supportive partner to their player partner. But yeah, she just took this whole thing to a new level. He won Queens, which is a 500 level tournament, and
big deal for him, actually.
As he was holding the trophy, she was front and center, and then the viral clip was that she was like kind of forcefully grabbing his neck to take a picture. How did you feel about that when you saw it?
So you know this about me. Our listeners are gonna learn this about me. I love a bit of Tommy Paul. Like
we do. You're just like
a hottie with a body. Just, you know,
he's from North Carolina.
Yeah.
So cute.
Really, really cute. Like, just want to go fishing with him. Mm-hmm. You know, that vibe. And so I was initially just like, first of all, why is she touching my man like that?
Oh, yeah. You were just a little bit possessive.
I was just like,
territorial.
What's going on? Do you know what I mean?
Understandable response.
You know, and then I was just like, I couldn't tell if she was pulling his neck into like a pose that she had envisioned. Mm-hmm. First of all, I've never even seen a girlfriend on the like court.
I didn't know they let you in.
Yeah, I was. The whole thing really just threw me off. I was completely confused by it.
I think they do let them in, but
because actually, no, I've seen a picture of Taylor and Morgan Riddle on court when he.
Yeah, I think she just honestly took it to a next level. She didn't stand back. She was like front and center in all the pictures.
You could tell she was thinking about the content.
She was definitely thinking about the content because the pictures came out perfect.
Yeah.
Even the one of him in the locker room afterwards, he took some by himself with his team, and then some with her, and she's like sitting on his lap. It's like perfectly framed. The makeup of the photo is perfect. So I definitely think in her mind, one, she clearly knew that her man was going to win. She had no doubt. And she had like the content plan penciled in. But yeah, I think she's taken the tennis girlfriend and tennis partner to the next level. You see a lot more focus media-wise now on the partners of these tennis players. And I think it adds to the sport because it's just something else for people to talk about on another perspective of the tour for people to see. So while it was kind of crazy to see it happening live and direct, I think overall she's doing her thing as an influencer, bringing people into the sport regardless of how they get there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, shout out to Paige. I do actually watch some of her vlogs.
Yeah, you've mentioned in the past that you like them.
And so for you, what's tea?
So I often speak to you about the sassy man apocalypse.
Yeah.
And how it's taking over tennis specifically.
Taking over tennis, indeed.
Yeah, it's taking over the world in general. But it is really amplified on the ATP tour.
Yeah. They sassy. They have clapbacks for days.
Yeah. And my favorite, absolute favorite, sassy king is none other than our favorite Great Dane, Mr. Holger Rune.
Yeah, he's had a few sassy moments this season
So his
far.
sassier one came last night. He was paired up with Boris Becker, but Boris Becker had to leave his team because Boris Becker can't travel because of his whole, he's a little jailbird.
Yeah.
So he has
criminal record.
Okay. Well, you're just going to say it out loud. It's fine.
Absolutely.
So Boris Becker randomly tweets last night, quick question. I see at P Murtoglu. I really struggle with that.
Murtoglu.
Okay.
Not sure if it's correct, but it is how I say it.
At P Murtoglu in London, but not with at Holger Rune 2003 at Wimbledon. Are they still working together? Question mark, exclamation point, question mark. And so immediately people descend on him. Tennis Twitter is what's this criminal doing asking questions like da-da-da?
It's mind your own.
Holger does not hesitate to respond. Because one thing about Holger is you are not going to get a response. He will respond. Yeah. He said, super strange you don't ask me this directly as we text together about other stuff. Crying face emoji. The answer to your question is yes, we work together. Full stop. Sharing the tournaments between us as planned.
Mm-hmm. He really clapped back. I mean, he got Boris Becker all the way together. He said, first things first. I'm the realist. First things first, you're fake because you text.
Yeah.
And you clearly just want to start an internet thing.
Because people often talk about how much Holger and Patrick have broken up, gotten back together, broken up, gotten back together, broken up, gotten back together.
I mean, Patrick, if we have to talk about Sassy Man, on the coaching side, he is the king
None
of
other
sassy.
Than, yeah.
So their pairing really just takes it to a whole new level. So it's they're actually meant for each other.
No, it is, yeah. And I think they like the breakups. I think they like the allure and the drama of it.
They like the push and pull of it all. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's obvious.
Yeah, he called Boris fake. He said, you could have texted me personally, but you wanted to start drama on the internet. So, matter of fact, we are still working together and mind your business.
And guess who I'm not working with?
You.
Exactly, period. So, yeah, that was tea for me. I thought it was so funny.
Yeah, he's had a few moments. I remember during the clay swing, he made a sign to the crowd and then the umpire penalized him.
Really?
And then they said it was crowd abuse or something. Yeah, he got penalized for it. And then he went to complain.
That must have been a very strict umpire because
the umpire basically said it's the same as telling the crowd to shut up. And then he was arguing, no, it's not, which I kind of was on his side for that one. But the whole making a sign to the crowd.
Even if it is the same as telling the crowd to shut up, players do that all the time.
They do. And apparently this umpire was just not here for it. He said, not on my court.
I wonder if it's because of the reputation Holger has so far. Maybe they're a bit stricter. When you're looking out for
how people treat Nick Kyrgios. He's troublesome and they just go into.
But then other people get away with murder.
Yeah, the clay season was full of sassiness because I feel there were so many wrong calls. There were so many just debatable moments on court that they had to stick up for themselves. But it's the way they do it that makes it sassy.
Shall we jump into some match point musings and look over grass court season because Wimbledon is upon us. There is no Masters 1000 on grass.
No, there isn't. And so basically the grass court season has gone from historically being the longest season. Two other Grand Slams used to be played on grass. Slowly those other two, which are the US Open and the Australian Open, have switched to hard court, and now Wimbledon is the lone grass court Grand Slam. It's actually the shortest season.
Yeah, it is. It's really, really quick.
It's, I think, something 12% of the season. For the women, they only have 7 tournaments before to kind of practice and get used to the surface. For the men, it's 6, but that's because they don't count 125s as part of the ATP Tour. Yeah, not that many opportunities for players to play. It's a huge switch from clay because it's a much faster surface. So it's an interesting time because it's where you see players who may not do well on clay or may not do well on hard court shine on grass because it's just their thing.
Different.
Yeah.
It's completely different. And then there's also players who completely hate it, like Casper Ruud.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll get into him
Seeing
later.
Casper Ruud on grass is like seeing a ghost. It's who's that?
Yeah. But I think it allows him to play a bit freer because he's no expectations.
Yeah.
But I think he's required to play.
Yeah, they are. They have requirements for the players on the 1000 and Grand Slam level. So
I saw Leylah Fernandez had a good run.
She absolutely did. And I feel like I'm so happy for her.
And in Eastbourne, yeah, which was a WTA 500.
Yeah. I think a good example of like players who had to like find their game is like Iga Swiatek. Her first junior Grand Slam was actually at Wimbledon. But then she hasn't had any great success at Wimbledon since then. But she hasn't had success on clay.
She hasn't had any success on grass at all. She has no grass court titles besides the junior one that she won. So I think that it's really interesting to see that like she's so prolific on clay and has really shown her dominance on clay specifically. But unfortunately, to date, has not been able to make any big moves on grass. I saw that Sinner, who we all know is my favorite player, took a win.
Yeah, he did at a 500 level.
Yes, but his girlfriend unfortunately lost that same day.
Yeah, Ms. Kalinskaya.
And he talked about it
to Jessica Pegula,
who's
glad coming back from injury and having like a good grass court run. So I love that for her. She sat out most of clay season. So I'm wondering if that sitting out clay season gave her the chance to like really just practice on grass and get herself in like through her recovery and into grass mode.
It seemed to have worked for Raducanu.
Taking like some time off of the clay.
And doing the training block.
Yeah.
For Wimbledon, yeah.
But then it's interesting because like they switched right back to clay for Olympics. So that's a whole other story.
We'll circle back.
Yeah, I think it's one of those surfaces that just throws people off. And I've kind of seen that there's two types of players who do well on grass. It's a fast surface, so you have big hitters doing really well. Players who can really time the ball and just get a winner in at any moment. They find success because it's just so unreturnable. The ball just slides across, and then before you know it, it's double bounce. It's not up. So you have those, and that's people like Rybakina and Sabalenka, who unfortunately has withdrawn, but they find success on the grass because it's fast and they can keep up the pace. On the other side of things, you have the players who have a lot of variety finding success because they can like defend and throw off that pace. So people who are slicing, people who are hitting the drop shot, and that's where like you have your Ons Jabeur and like Vondrousova, her slice. It really throws off the pace, and that
slice.
Yeah, that confuses the big hitters because they now have to play at a kind of irregular pace.
Yeah, I also think that good movers do well as well. Because moving on grass is quite difficult. It's so slippery because they fall so much. Yeah.
And
I think even oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, speaking of falls, we've had a few.
Yeah.
Namely, the reigning Wimbledon champion Vondrousova had a fall
Nasty
2 weeks
fall.
ago in Berlin. She injured, I think, her right hip. Actually, I'm not sure which side it was, but it was a hip injury that she came out of that with. Recently, she came back this week to say that she feels recovered and she's ready to defend her title.
Yeah.
I mean, she had quite a run last year.
Yeah, she did. And I still really can't believe it, honestly.
I'm still shocked.
I feel like I disassociated that day.
I'm still like, like, okay, you accept the Grand Slam champions and you're like, okay, you won. You got it.
She beat Ons, right?
She beat Ons
For the second year in a row, she was in the final.
Yeah,
right?
Ons is a second-year finalist, and
Ons,
she beat Ons. So those are two players who are hitting the slice, hitting the drop shot.
Yeah.
They have a lot of variety in their game style. And Vondrousova was actually the first person from qualifying, first unseeded player to come through qualifying and win Wimbledon. So I think the tournament itself is 7 matches. Then if you add on qualifying, it's now an extra
10,
3.
Yeah.
So that's a crazy winning streak that she went on. And yeah, she's also had success on clay. So let's see.
I don't think she's going to be able to repeat it, but that's neither here nor there. Standout moments for me during the grass was De Minaur and his girl
winning,
Katie,
yes,
winning in the same weekend. They've done it before as well. It's not the first time. That was really
cute.
Yeah, and I feel like Sinner and Kalinskaya were going for that same vibe, but unfortunately she could not do the needful. She had like 6 match points or something. No,
she did, but Pegula is like a wall. I think she decided that she was going to win, and she just held it. She
locked in.
She locked in and got it done. Yeah, Katie Bolter overcame Pliskova at a 250 level tournament to take home the title. And I didn't realize that Katie Bolter is like 6 foot plus.
What?
She's so tall.
No, she's not.
And the first time I noticed was watching this match. I realized she's so freaking tall.
What?
And sometimes I forget, and then that led me to look into like who are the tallest women on tour.
No, what?
Yes, she's about Rybakina's heights, but she just doesn't look it.
How tall is Daminar? I mean,
They're tall. Remember, he's probably like 6'3", 6'4".
Daminar?
How tall is he? He's not 5'11".
She's how tall? So, what?
She's mad tall. You know who else is surprisingly tall? And now when you look at the numbers and then you see them, you realize that's a really tall person. Kunwen Zhang.
She gives me tall though.
She didn't give me tall before. Once I saw the numbers, I was like, okay.
Daminar is only 6 feet tall.
So how tall is Katie? She's like his height.
What's going on? What are you telling me?
Off to Google.
She's 5'11".
She's absolutely not.
5'11" is 1 inch away from being 6 feet. So I guess you're in the same.
No, but I actually read like a whole article about it that had like a list of all of them. So a few weeks ago, maybe I got it wrong, but she's tall as hell, and it was totally noticeable. Now that I know that she's tall, I can see that she's above the average height of a normal person. How could we forget to mention Kasatkina, who has one of those like big variety game styles, and she's the one who beat Leila Fernandez in the final of the past 500 level tournament in Eastbourne.
Yes. Which, by the way, is being downgraded from a 500 to a 250.
How come?
Because there's a new tournament coming to London at Queen's for the women.
Oh, yeah.
And so they need the 500 ranking for that. So they're stripping Eastbourne of it. And I think that's not really nice. Like, I get it. Like, finance wise, sorry, that was tough. Obviously, the WTA needs as much money as they can get. So yeah, but it's kind of sucks with people of Eastbourne. You know, it's like a pretty big thing, and the fans really show up at Eastbourne. Like,
yeah, it's gonna be a big change for them because with the 500 level designation, you get also a certain level of top 10 players. So the tournament has been like a really competitive one. Yeah, I guess the WTA is thinking that bringing that level of tournament to London would be more like lucrative than having it in Eastbourne. But yeah,
for sure.
Sucks.
No, for sure.
It sucks.
For sure.
So the finals have been pretty varied in this grass court season. You have
because Schneider faced Donna Vekic.
So random.
Vekic.
Somebody said they hope Schneider can find a white bandana in time for Wimbledon.
Which is actually good. I love the bandana look though.
She just sticks it. Like that's her look and she's sticking to it.
I was really disappointed with Sloane's loss, by the way. I don't think I mentioned to you.
I mean,
I want so badly for Sloane to like pop out, but it's not.
Also waiting for her to pop out and because Sloane has it in her. I just know that for a fact.
She does.
So seeing her lose like that, I think she was bagelled in the second set of that match. Really unfortunate. And we are Sloane fans up in here.
We love Sloane.
She is playing Victoria Azarenka in the first round of Wimbledon, which is crazy.
Sorry, wait. Did you know that fans of Alicia Park are called Park Rangers?
Amen. I'm a Park Ranger.
And I was so obsessed with that. Did you know that?
No, I didn't. But
I saw that on Tennis Twitter the other day, and I was like, wait, what? That is so cool. I love it.
I'm a Park Ranger in that case.
Next on tour, Wimby.
Wimbledon, the most classic, most prestigious,
the most stuffy.
The most bougie.
You'll get kicked out if you aren't in dress code. You know they kicked out. You saw when they kicked out Hamilton.
They said come correct.
No, he was. I think he was wearing track pants. They asked him to leave.
Oh, so there's like an actual a formality level. I thought it was maybe just color or like off vibes. Like no, not too this or that.
There's a dress code. Yeah. When I went, I was like.
Yeah.
Like, people are dressed. I dressed up just because I was excited for the day. But I got there and I was like.
Everybody's actually dressed up.
You know I normally don't dress up. So I was like, thank God the spirit of fancy came upon me.
Because everybody was looking good. Mm-hmm. No, I mean, I think, well, I've not been to Wimbledon. Obviously, I just went to my first Grand Slam this year. But from watching Wimbledon and like just following online, the looks from the crowd are always a vibe. Even just like the royal box and what they're wearing, I'm always looking at it. When Meg went to look at Serena play there, it was a whole thing with what is Meg wearing, what is Kate wearing. So yeah, it's
Sorry, by
always
Meg, do you mean Meghan Markle, the Duchess?
Yeah, Meghan Markle,
Sure.
the Duchess of Sussex.
Got it. No, I just wanted to.
We are on a first name, nickname basis. That's my girl.
I'm thinking Meg.
Meg.
When did Megan Thee Stallion go to Wimbledon? No, I was confused. So I'm really glad that we cleared that up.
Well, I thought it was following after my Royal Box comment that it was not Megan Thee Stallion, but also I want to see. I mean, obviously, Challengers is out, but I'm like, is Zendaya?
I don't think it's still in theaters anymore.
I don't even know how theaters work anymore, but I'm like, is Zendaya still interested in tennis? Is she gonna be going to any more tennis things? Does she have the time? Is she still gonna be wearing
tennis clothes?
Is she still gonna be wearing?
She seemed really into it though.
She said that she got obsessed with tennis.
It's an obsession,
and that's why she kind of pulls you in, and that's why she went ahead with producing and starring in that film.
She produced that.
Yeah, I think she had a production credit.
Did she?
Like executive production.
Her, not too much on my girl.
No, she's like doing what she wants to do.
No, I love her. I love Zendaya.
So Wimby. Not only does the crowd have a dress code, obviously we know the players also have a dress code, which is all white.
Indeed. And you know my boy Nicky always used to get fines.
What did he used to come with?
So he would like wear like a red fitted in like the post interview on court. He would come on court with Jordans and change and like, and it's so funny because I would just sit there and be like, Nicholas, why are you doing this?
He just has a bone in his body that needs to...
He needs to rebel.
Needs to give a little good trouble.
He's a certified bad boy.
He's like, if
but
it's
shout out to
bad,
Nick. You could never make me hate him.
Never.
You could never make me hate him.
And I love everything that he does. The way he plays, his story. And I hope that he can come back from injury. Is that going to happen, do you think?
Him and Naomi are playing exhibition doubles at US Open this year.
How fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good sign.
What I know about his playing at the moment.
Yeah. So wait, Wimbledon is starting, today. Has started a few hours ago. Yeah. So we do have some round one results, but also what are some of the matches that you're looking forward to in round one? Like what are the exciting moments that you think?
There's so many people playing. Sinner, Goff, Medvedev, Alcaraz, Raducanu, Berrettini, Paul, Paolini, Shelton, Osaka, and many more.
And many more.
Like, it's crazy. Sabalenka would have played today, but she obviously has to retire because of what they're calling a rare shoulder injury.
Yeah, apparently very few tennis players have had this injury. So, I mean, prayers go out to her. I hope this doesn't affect her long term.
You know what it has affected? The draw.
Yeah.
It's completely lopsided now. It's completely lopsided.
So who has taken her place? Who's the lucky loser?
Mira Andreeva's sister,
Erica. Erica. How nice.
Erica.
So both Andreevas are now in the main draw. And then, of course, we have our girl, Alicia, who has come through qualifying. I don't even think she dropped a set in the qualifying rounds.
What?
She actually did really well.
What?
She did not drop a set. Go and look at her results.
Park Rangers up.
Park Rangers unite. So in terms of like underdogs, definitely rooting for Alicia Parks. In the first round, we have some interesting matchups.
Oh, sorry. You asked me what matchups I was excited about. Sorry.
So I was like, bring it back.
And I just listed everybody who was playing.
Bring it back. Bring it back. God. So, I mean, I can go ahead. One of mine is Ostapenko and Tomljanovic.
Ayla Tomljanovic.
Ayla Tomljanovic.
My former rival.
Why was she a rival?
Because she was dating my man, Matteo Berrettini.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my. Wait. I forgot.
The real hottie with the body.
I forgot that they dated. Yeah, oh, my God.
The real hottie with the body.
How dare he?
No,
Come on now.
And the thing about Matteo is that, like, I don't know what else I have to do to get him to commit to this relationship.
Yeah.
You know?
I think you guys have to get to know each other more.
You
have to just get to know him more.
Okay. Okay.
So, Ostapenko and Tomljanovic have this like
very
dramatic and spicy relationship. And I think it was, when was it that they had that like exchange? It was at Wimbledon a few years ago.
Yeah, 2 or 3 years ago.
2 years ago. I think it was round 3. Ostapenko had some injury, and I don't know what caused Isla to react like that, but Isla didn't believe that she had an injury. Isla fully accused her of like faking the injury to get like medical time on the court, and that's what the whole spat was about.
And then one of them was like, "Go ask the physio."
Yeah, Ostapenko was like, "You don't believe I have an injury? Go ask the physio. Go ask the medicals." And then she accused Isla of having no respect. So
that's you. Not too much on my girl. That's you. You love a bit of Ostapenko.
I love a bit of Ostapenko spice. Since then, they did play again in Australian Open. Ostapenko took it. And then they meet again now in the first round of
That's a matchup
Wimbledon.
I'm interested in, for sure.
Yeah, because there have also been instances where Isla kind of absorbs Ostapenko's pace, and she's also a shot maker herself. So it could be a really good match. I'm excited for that.
I'm interested in Korda versus Pichi Pericard.
Yes.
Because Korda was going to play Davidovich Fokina.
Right.
Who I think he beats quite regularly.
Every time.
And I'm interested to see how Pichi Pericard performs on this big stage. Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. I'm really happy that he got it. I think he was a lucky loser.
Yeah, who was it that withdrew that allowed
Davidovich Fokina.
Right.
Yeah.
You just said that. It didn't compute.
That's fine. Yeah, I'm also really interested in the Keys Trevisan matchup.
Ooh, not
Madison
Trevisan. I don't know what it is that made Sloane make that comment, but I just
No. So basically, Trevisan was facing.
She's a up.
No.
She's a up.
No, I don't think on an average day Sloane has anything against Trevisan. I just think that unfortunately on that day. The next matchup was Trevisan versus Coco, and somebody ridiculously asked Sloane, "Who do you have? Like, who are you supporting next time? Next match?" And then, I don't know if it was quarters or whatever it was in the next round, and she goes, "Well, it's not Trevisan. Like, why did you ask me?"
She got a shady tone then. Like, I know what the vibe was, but it's still like
it was very.
If you extract that, it's super shady.
It was very iconic, but like, yeah,
it's like, what has Trevisan done? But since then, I view Trevisan as an op.
No, I feel you.
But I mean, again, who are you having in this Keys Trevisan matchup? Not Trevisan. We're here for Keys. Or
now you really like put me in a corner that I don't know how to extricate myself out of. Like, now my back is to the wall, and I feel like any answer I give will not be ideal.
How is it
I'm
possible?
very interested to see how their match styles match up against each other. That's all.
Okay,
I'm a fan of the sport.
Okay,
Go sports.
Go sport.
Yeah, that's me.
I'm here for everybody black.
Period.
As well as being a fan of the sport. So by default,
it's going to be
for
Keys
Madison
for you.
Keys. But what is it about their styles that is an interesting matchup?
I like the tenacity of Trevisan.
Okay.
I feel like it's going to be interesting to see how she absorbs Keys' pace. Mm-hmm. You know, I think I'm interested because Maddie's a big hitter.
She's a big hitter, and she does well on grass.
Yeah.
She won a title last season. She didn't
defend
that title very well this year, but
I'm also very interested to see how Naomi performs today. Mm-hmm. She had a pretty easy first round draw with Diane Perry of France. No offense to the Frenchies, but I mean that's not that shouldn't be too difficult
work
for her.
Naomi.
Yeah.
The big hitters usually have a good time on grass because it's just impossible to return once they hit a winner.
Yeah.
So I think Naomi, since her comeback, hasn't been able to convert.
However,
but it's like she's had these like close moments, like versus Iga at the Roland Garros tournament. She kind of had a match point, and then
even on grass, she had a really good match against
Bianca Andreescu,
another person coming back.
Andreescu.
Yeah. No,
another big hitter as well.
Yeah. And then also, I think lost to Zhang shortly after in the next week. And the thing about tennis, and I think it was Cerundolo, who did an interview about this earlier in the year. But like, it's a sport that's very taxing because if you don't win, you're losing every week. Like, if you're not winning the tournament, you're losing every week, every 2 weeks, every fortnight, every 10 days. Like, that can be really taxing and tough, especially if you're somebody who has had really big results in the past.
Yeah.
And you're trying to get your footing. It can be discouraging if you don't have your mental part kind of locked in. Do you know what I mean? Like, can you imagine, like, you've taken some time off, you've had a kid, the whole time you're on maternity leave, technically. You're watching the sport, you're seeing people win, you want to be back out there.
She's seeing Iga dominate.
And then and then it's like, you keep losing, but there's no other option.
But like, you're reaching match point, but it's like, that doesn't even count.
You know what I'm saying?
You didn't make it.
I don't know how they do it because personally,
yeah, it's really difficult.
It would be curtains for me.
Coco said something interesting in an interview a few days ago. I think it was at her Wimbledon press. And it kind of speaks to that. She spoke about, Coco hasn't had great success at Wimbledon. I think she was out first or second round last year.
She had her first round shock exit against her fellow American, Sophia Kenin,
who
went on to lose.
What she says is that, the way she's looking at this is that, one, it can't get any worse than it was last year. She's worked on her game, and then it's only going to get better or the same. And I think tennis and the way the tour is, it requires you as a player to look at the in-betweens, because you're taking it as win-loss. As a player, it's not going to work. You're not going to last mentally. So you have to just be noting your own progress. So I'm sure for Naomi, it's like, yes, I had the L against Iga and I had match point, but let's look at the progress that I've made.
And the fact that you were even able to get her to that point on her surface.
When she went on to win the entire tournament.
On her court,
So I think that's what it requires, to look at the in-betweens and to know, like, it's not just win or lose. There are other things as a player you have to consider in terms of your progress. And you got to keep going. So... yeah, Andreescu beat Naomi and then went on to win the Libema Open, which is a 250 tournament on grass. Who did you just bring up? You brought up somebody and I had a note about them.
Sophia Kenin?
No. Right. The other person who beat Naomi recently was Kunran Zhang. And yes, Naomi was beaten, but it took Kunran 23 aces, which is her career high in any single match, to beat Naomi. So it's like very extraordinary circumstances under which Naomi is losing. And I think that's, something that she's probably going to be taking note of. I mean, you beat the eventual win. You almost won against the eventual winner of Roland Garros. You lost against Kunran Zhang, who hit 23 aces. Like, Naomi also has a big serve. She just needs to turn everything on. She
took Andreescu to a third set tiebreak.
It was so close.
But she's 14-13 lifetime on a grass tour level. And she's never made it past the third round in any of her previous 3 appearances at Wimbledon. Yeah. However, I think her win, not her win. Let me not stop saying that. Her near win against Iga has kind of reignited her confidence.
Definitely.
And I think her coach, Wim Fissette, recently did an interview when he was like, yeah, like obviously hard court is always going to be her favorite, but she is now seeing that she has the opportunity to be an all-round player. She has the opportunity to like show up at the other Grand Slams. He was like, yeah, probably in the past they were looking at it more so like we're gonna go for the 2 out of 4. But now they're going for 4 out of 4. And they're gonna go to every Grand Slam as though they have a chance because they generally think that they do. And I honestly, they're like maybe my favorite duo, player coach duo. Yeah. Like they really get each other.
That's what she said, that one of the things about her is that she doesn't like someone who's in her ear all the time, and he does a good job of like standing back, letting her figure things out, and then coming in with like words of advice. And that kind of is a strategy that works for her. And I think he's been by her side for a few big wins, 2 of the US Open wins, Australian Open. So yeah, I'm glad that she's taking her game to the next level, because I definitely think she's one of those players who, with the development, which is what it requires. A lot of players don't grow up playing on grass. So it requires you, as already a pro player, now developing your grass court style.
It's similar,
and it just takes time.
It's similar to the American players having to adapt to clay.
Yeah, I mean,
which is why Taylor Fritz was so excited and started calling himself Clayler and stuff, because it's just like, I can't believe I'm doing this.
Yeah, it's like a shocker. It's like a surface that you just don't instinctively know. It's not the tennis that you know.
So I'm gonna ask, what are your dreams, nightmares, and realities for this Wimbledon?
So my dream, I have a few dreams. Let me tell you a few of them. Some of my dreams are for my underdogs, who I consider to be Alicia Parks, Leylah Fernandez. I would also include Bianca Andreescu and Naomi Osaka to go deep in the tournament. I'm not sure where each of them falls on the draw or if any of them are playing each other. But yeah, my dream would be for those players who I personally want to see do well on the surface, make it far. Like a fourth round would be good. That would be astronomical for Alicia. That would be great for Bianca Andreescu on her comeback. It would be great for Naomi to up her confidence on this new surface. And also, for me, Naomi needs to just dominate this sport. And that's all I'm looking for from her. So those are my dreams. And then my reality is that there are players who are gunning for this. And I think are going to come out really hard, who've had previous success. People like Ons Jabeur. I think she's going to go really far. Iga Swiatek, who hasn't had much grass court experience, but I think she definitely is a player who's hungry to just dominate the entire sport.
She is, yeah.
She's not trying to be just a clay court specialist. She's trying to do everything. So I think, yeah, with the pace that she puts on the ball, the power that she has, she's going to do really, really well at Wimbledon. What about you?
So for me, my dream on the women's side would be Coco taking it.
Okay.
Obviously, I mentioned her first round exit to Sofia Kenin. But it's the first year with no Venus and Serena in so long, I think since like 1996 or something insane like that.
Yeah.
So like, it would be like a little poetic for Coco to take it this year. Do you know what I mean? Or, you know.
Didn't Coco have a match against Venus at Wimbledon one time? Her first year playing Wimbledon.
I think she was like 14 or 15
yeah, she was
or something.
super young, and that was such a beautiful moment. So yeah, that would be so poetic and so special. For the first time, also Coco was on the opposite side of the draw from Iga Swiatek. When she was number 3, she was on the same side of the draw. So I think that's different for her. She now like is a dominant player on her side of the draw.
The reality, though.
Your dream could be same as reality.
No, I think the reality is Rebecca Ness, who I'm going with. I don't see Iga doing that well. I see the tweets, the SW19, and I'm not in the mood. I see Rebecca Ness taking it, ultimately. My nightmare, though, would be Ons Jabeur getting to another final and losing. Like, I would literally be kept up at night.
Devastating.
That is a
her.
nightmarish.
But I also think that this route to a Grand Slam being difficult is not new for tennis. Like, Ons Jabeur is not the first person to make multiple finals and lose.
And this is what I always say, is that I think the big three and Serena and Venus have really warped our expectations for winning in sport, in this sport specifically. Because like Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic made it like 24, 23, 22, 20 Grand Slams. Like, that's not normal.
It's not normal.
Grand Slams with that big of a draw to win that many times.
It's not human.
And
I think also Ons has her own weight to carry that's different from everybody else on this tour. And so I feel like
she needs to put some of the weight down, though.
She needs to put it down, but I also feel like making it like a huge deal that she's made 2 finals and lost. It's like, that's okay. That's fine. People have done that before. You're not the first.
And you won't be the last.
You won't be the last. You're not the first. You won't be the last. And I think I don't want her to get that in her head as like, oh my God, something to bring her down. She still has every chance she can.
Because then I think she'll definitely choke.
She needs to just loosen up and let it go. Sure. but I would love to see her she's like so good on grass.
She's so sweet too.
She's so sweet. She's really good friends now with Sabalenka. I love seeing their player relationship. Yeah.
So for the men's side, dreams, realities, and nightmares.
So I definitely have a nightmare that I want to bring up immediately for the men's side. We need to talk about who's taking out Zverev. All right?
Who's that?
We have a few options in the draw.
No, who's the player you mentioned?
Zverev.
I don't know. Who is that?
You don't know him?
Never heard of him.
So he's this Russian guy.
Sorry to that man.
So sorry, this German guy from Russia.
Got it.
But first and foremost, we have Jack Draper, who meets him in the third round.
Jack got to do it.
Draper has had a great grass season. He won a 250 title.
He took out Alcaraz at Queens as well.
Crazy scenes.
In straight sets, I believe, actually.
Crazy scenes. And Draper is British. The crowd's going to be behind him. I just hope that he can get it done. But if he doesn't, in the fourth round, we have Taylor Fritz, who also has been having a great grass court season. I'm not sure how Taylor's game matches up against Zverev.
I would never put my money on Taylor in anything ever, really. He's not a closer. I've recently been forced to stop saying Taylor Fritz is bad at tennis. Mm-hmm. Because my best friend is in love with his girlfriend, and she gets very upset when I say
What's his girlfriend's name again?
Morgan Riddle.
Right. She also has a great vlog.
Yeah.
That I look at.
But their head-to-head is 5-3, and so I just don't see that happening. And the player you're talking about has already beaten him at Wimbledon before in 2021.
Okay. Well, if Fritz doesn't hold, then next we have Rublev in the quarterfinal. And then if push comes to absolutely shove, we have Djokovic in the semifinal. So I feel like that nightmare...
His head-to-head with Rublev is 6-3.
Good Lord, save us.
Like, who does he have first and second round? Anybody there?
No, that's why I started from third, please. He's definitely making it to at least third. And then it's on Draper, Fritz, Rublev, and Djokovic. Djokovic, who has come back from his mysterious knee injury/surgery. Nobody knows what's going on with Djokovic's knee. All we know is that he miraculously recovered from what he said was a surgery in, under 2 weeks?
What he said was a surgery is so cheeky of you. What he said
it was
is a
an
surgery.
Alleged surgery. We didn't see no scars. We didn't see no long recovery time. I'm just not sure which surgery this is. But I actually think that he did something super high tech and we just don't know what it is. And that's why he was able to recover so fast.
Okay. Dreams for men? Because now
okay, so my dreams. One, I am hopping on board with the trend of Britain like finding their new star player each grass court season. Like this, the grass is theirs. Okay. So I do want to see Jack Draper do his big one right now.
I really like Jack.
I do. I think he's
and
fine.
He loves the camera.
He loves the camera. He has said that himself, I believe. And
much to what's her name's dismay, Jeannie Bouchard.
Yeah, she was like, "Well, if I love the camera, like, girl, please." Who are your dreams and reality for?
You didn't give
the
me
men's?
a reality.
I don't have a reality on the men's side because I just don't know the game well enough to know what realistically is about to happen.
My dream is...
Ooh, I think I know your dream. Go.
Andy Murray.
Hey.
Yeah, I didn't think that you would know that either.
Why would that be your dream?
I don't know. I feel like he's a really overlooked member of the Big Four.
Elite squad, yeah.
Yeah, I think he did a lot to their game. I think he did a lot to aid in that era of tennis.
He was a disruptor.
Yeah. And I love his personality. He's so funny. He's like, and he's a fighter, bro. He doesn't have a hip.
It's metal.
Hipless.
It's metal in there.
Ligaments all out of whack. Has no
Stainless
feeling
steel.
in his legs. He's playing with stitches in his back.
It's actually wild. He's actually what do you call that man that's like put together?
The bionic man.
Yes. He's the bionic man of tennis.
And
so many different injuries that he's overcome.
Yeah, and I just feel like he's retiring. He said it, you know. Earlier, I was telling you that somebody needs to help us beg Andy Murray to stop playing tennis, but now I take it back. Like, I feel like...
You want to see him go out with a bang.
I want to see him get that winning feeling on center court one more time. And he wants that too, but he's not actually sure if he's going to play. But he's definitely playing doubles with his brother, Jamie. He's also qualified to play doubles at the Olympics and he's pairing with Dan Evans, I believe. But yeah, my dream would be for him to win, or at least have a deep run at Wimbledon this year. I don't want him to go out in like the second round. I don't.
Or the first. Who's he playing in the first round? I feel like it's someone who's like a formidable opponent.
Really?
So that's a big dream.
He's playing Machak. I don't.
Have you seen the state of his hip?
Okay.
All right.
My nightmare would be
he who must not be named.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doing anything positive.
Yeah.
Would be a nightmare of mine.
I need to see him exit the sport.
The reality is Alcaraz or Sinner is gonna take it.
Alcaraz or Sinner,
I love my reality. Like,
yeah, it's a great reality. It's a great world to live in.
Yeah.
God is good
All the time.
We have these two young players who are really like just good ambassadors for the sport. Carlos is so positive.
Did you read that article about him?
Yes.
Oh my God, he's so cute.
He was talking about his mom's cooking, his brothers and his dad being on tour with him.
His favorite thing is like being a big brother to his to his little ones. He calls them.
Could he be more wholesome?
Like, and then obviously there's Sinner, who I feel is a bit more
golden boy.
Yeah, reserved.
Reserved, but also like, you know what it is, because it's
super marketable
Gucci down.
Well. Yeah,
super marketable.
Speaking of the Wimbledon dress code, Gucci got a special permission to make him that duffel bag. You know that, right?
So wait, is this a custom one that they're bringing out from Wimbledon? What
no, like the very first time he brought the Gucci bag, he had to get special permission for it because it's not
because it doesn't match. Yeah. Wow, I didn't know it goes down to the bag.
Allegedly.
That's why everything looks so clean at Wimbledon.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Tell me.
I do have a dream that I didn't include before, and that would be Tommy Paul.
Thomas Paul.
His story is just so incredible. I feel like he was just playing tennis for the fun of it. He's like, yeah, I'm a pro, but like I still drink beers and I still go on the boat.
With his coach Brad Stein. Yeah, Brad Stein for Tommy, Brad Gilbert for Coco. Brad Stein, I think really like he was able to harness.
He switched.
Because he was not. Did you see that interview of, I think it was Casper Ruud and maybe Daminar, and they were talking about how Tommy Paul beat them in straight sets, and then Casper Ruud goes, he was able to focus long enough to. I was like,
no, he was a party boy. He was a bad boy, and then he just locked in.
Yeah,
and I think he's seeing the fruits of that, like of his labor.
I think he's the American #1 now.
He is indeed the American
after his win.
He's the American #1. I think it goes Tommy Paul, Taylor Fritz, and then Ben Shelton.
Ben Shelton is below Fritz?
Yeah, he dropped below Fritz.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because Shelton has not been having success on the past few tournaments.
That's
Taylor
true.
Fritz has just won on 250.
That's true.
I mean, one of my favorite matches recently that I watched was the Sinner Hurkacz match. It was so close.
And they were doubles
it was like
too.
7-6, 7-6.
They were double partners, right?
They were doubles partners, but like Hubert Hurkacz just has so much personality on the court. And he's just such an unsuspecting big hitter. Like, I don't know. I look at him, I'm like, you don't look that coordinated footwork wise, but he makes it around the court. He really does. And he makes some incredible shots. So yeah, those are our dreams and realities and one nightmare.
One shared nightmare.
One shared nightmare.
Okay.
Any more dreams that you have about Wimbledon? What comes to mind when you sleep at night?
Okay, first of all. So my man, who is proving a bit difficult.
This is man number 3.
No, man number 1. It's in my man rankings. Mateo comes first. Actually,
call the roster.
You know, Tommy Paul, or Thomas Paulus, as I like to call him at home. He might. Who do I love more? Oh my gosh. I really love Tommy, honestly, but I also Berrettini. Oh. Okay, well, anyway. If we're talking about what I'm thinking about at night, it's gonna be
Berrettini.
Yeah. And he's doing so well.
I'm so happy for him.
Like since the start of
grass court season.
No, even if you go back to like 2020 when he really started his like deep runs with grass, because I think he's been a Wimbledon finalist, he's won Queens, he has a 28-5 win-loss record on the surface.
He may be a grass court king.
No, do you know what I mean? And he like
in waiting.
And I saw
somebody
said Mateo pops out every grass court season like Michael Bublé at Christmas. And I was like,
this may be his surface. Like I don't know. What is it about his game that lends to the grass and the speed?
He has a big serve.
Berrettini?
He has a huge serve.
I had no idea.
He's almost like a serve bot. I think some people could consider him to be a serve bot. He has a really big serve.
I had no idea. I love a big server.
He has
okay.
a really big serve.
All right,
But he also has a bit of touch as well.
And he serve and touch is a good combo for grass.
He makes good decisions.
So his tennis IQ is up there.
I think so.
Yeah, so I think all in all, this Wimbledon is shaping up to be very exciting. There have been a good few withdrawals, and so we have a few lucky losers on both draws, on the WTA side, on the ATP side. And then I think there are some players, more on the men's side, we have some definite faves. The women's side, it's still like nobody's really claimed that dominance on the grass court just yet. There have actually been 7 different players over the past 7 iterations of the tournament
that have won.
Yeah,
the winners. Really?
Yeah, it's been pretty inconsistent. I don't want to use that word. Because there's no such thing.
It's been fun.
It's been fun. This title has been up for grabs, and different women have come up and snatched it. So that means this year we're just not even sure who's going to take it, and I think that's a good place to be.
Wasn't it Wimbledon that Ash Barty won and retired?
Yeah,
she was like, "All right, I'm taking my plate.
She said, I'm done." Which I found was so interesting because she didn't play very long and she retired pretty early. She probably could have had a few more in her.
For sure.
But she made that decision. Yeah. And I feel like it's similar to Danielle Collins, who definitely has more in the tank, but she has said that she's retiring after this season. She's had a heck of a season. I haven't really looked into her grass court movements and success, but yeah, on the women's side, anybody can take it. On the men's side, I mean, of course, anybody can take any tournament. But we do have our faves, and you have some people who have been consistently good on the surface. Alcaraz being the defending champion. Next segment is Networthy News. So what were some like little pointers that you picked up about the tennis tour in the past few weeks? Tell me, Bems.
Oh my God, I was really excited to see Garbiñe Muguruza has been named the tournament director of the WTA finals this year out in Saudi Arabia. She's the first player to assume a leadership position at a season finale.
That's crazy.
I think on WTA and ATP. I think both. And
but I love that for her because
apparently she's being positioned to play like a big role in the growing women's tennis vibe in the Middle East specifically.
Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I do like that. I like to see in any sport people go from playing the sport to being administrators of a sport because I feel they
come
have
at it with a better perspective.
They have first-hand perspective. They can put the players' needs and wants first.
Yeah.
This is especially applicable to Saudi Arabia, where a lot of the women have concerns about the laws of the country and how open it is and how that experience is going to be for them. So I feel like having someone who's a former player who knows what players go through is going to help with that kind of adjustment and acclimatization to what is essentially just a new and different culture. It's not that big a deal. I think the whole reason the Saudis have been gunning after so many sports is because they do want to make effort to open up their country. And, you know, I can't go as far as to say that the Saudis want change. I don't know what they want, but they have made efforts across different sports to bring the world into their world. And I think we're seeing that with tennis and the WTA finals being in, what is it, Riyadh? Yeah. So
what about you? Any noteworthy news?
I more have a comment that I've seen on the internet. And I've also heard commentators say it quite a few times. And this is applicable to the WTA. The term mom on a mission.
Ay, ay, ay.
I actually never want to hear... I mean, I don't mind hearing it because obviously there are players on the tour who are moms. But it's just like, you never hear them say like dad on a mission. Like Taylor Fritz is a dad.
What would they say?
Papa on the
prowl.
court. Yeah, Papa on the prowl. Like, and I just feel like... there needs
devastating
to be a balance.
dad.
There needs to be a balance struck where, yes, we
determined
acknowledge
dad.
the fact that maternity and like
coming back from it is a big deal.
It's a huge deal because it is something that physically happens to your body. But I'm not sure that referring to every player who's a mom as they go on the court as a mom on a mission is like, I don't know, it kind of like What are your thoughts on that? To me, it just like reduces the whole thing to some like catchy phrase. Whereas if it's a women's sport, we should be trying to like normalize having your child, taking maternity leave, coming back, and having room for that within a women's sport. Do you know what I mean?
I agree. I also think it's a little corny and very repetitive.
It's very repetitive. On Twitter, they've said it a number of times. They ask each time the ladies come off court, they're asking them about their daughters in a way that they just don't do for the men. And I just want to figure out where is the balance and why is it so off balance that they're only focusing on these women who have kids. And I also think that focusing on guys and the fact that they have kids would help to make that balance, because it's like, don't dads have to be dads as well? Is not also an added like responsibility as your athlete on tour? Let's get to know about the guys who have kids and how they're handling that. I think that would be interesting.
You know who's not handling that at all?
Who's not handling it?
Taylor Fritz.
Oh yeah. So I've heard. Where your child at, sir?
The grandmother is the baby.
So anyway, mom on a mission. Yeah, the phrase needs to be discontinued. Discontinued. Like,
I'm still trying to think of bad ones. Dad's determination. I'm sure by next
episode you'll have it, and we could actually do a segment of dads on the.
Let's do it.
Dads on something.
Court couture. We have some new signings and new sightings.
I mean, for me, the player that's killing the fashion and has been is Yannick Sinner with Gucci.
No, Gucci loves Yannick down. They love him.
He had billboards in Paris.
Several.
Across the city.
Several. Huge ones too, huh?
And it just fits with him. He's Italian. Gucci's an Italian house.
I think they have a new creative director as well.
New creative director, and I think, I don't know, something about their positioning in the sport has been really organic. But there have been some new signings as well from other brands who want to tap into the tennis hype and the trend. I
think Casper Ruud is with Dior now, ahead of the Olympics.
Dior, interesting.
Earlier this year, Taylor Fritzy joined my lover
Berrettini
as a Boss Global ambassador.
I also found it interesting
that he left Nike to do that, I think.
Interesting.
He was with Nike. And now he's with Boss and Chipotle.
Taylor is with Chipotle. Ruud is with who? Just Boss.
No. Ruud is with Dior, luxury. Taylor's with Boss. Berrettini's with Boss. Ruud is that one thing.
That one thing.
I can see his kit in my mind.
It's something. I knew he has a second sponsorship.
Yonex.
Right.
Yonex.
So,
yeah.
I mean, Boss also has the Boss
Berrettini
Open.
used to be Asics.
Thank God. He has switched.
He was Asics and something else. And then he switched to Boss as an Italian. Because Boss is Italian, no?
Yeah. And Boss has its own tournament. They're in tennis deep.
Yeah, they are. The Boss Open.
That's pretty incredible.
Did he win that?
No, he was the runner-up.
Runner-up, yeah.
Draper won. Who's Jack Draper with?
Nike.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. On the women's side...
Nike, as he would call it.
Oh, God, the Brits. On the women's side, speaking of Brits, Emma Raducanu is with Dior.
Been with Dior.
Dior down.
Tiffany, Porsche. Sponsorships?
She got the top deals.
Sponsorship?
She actually...
Do we want to talk about sponsorships?
Then Emma Raducanu has them all.
Ay.
So, you know how Yannick Sinner has the Gucci bag? She has the book tote, which she's been taking on court, which I think is a really cute look. She has like the custom one. It's not the super big one. It's a medium size, and it just fits her really well. I saw a picture of her entering the Wimbledon courts for practice with a white one with like a custom design.
She was wearing the England jersey.
Aww,
even though they almost lost to Slovenia.
She's very patriotic, and I think obviously she wants to play that up at Wimbledon on home turf.
All right. Well, that's it for court couture.
Court couture.
Court couture.
I think the only other player I can think of right now who's been acing their sponsorships is Coco with New Balance.
And Carol's daughter.
And Carol's
She's been doing
daughter.
hair content, which is also why she needs to win with
She
blonde
absolutely
braids.
does.
Word to Serena and Venus.
Word to Serena and Venus. It will be such a moment.
I love Coco.
Yeah.
She's like best personality, like sweetest girl.
She keeps doing like these get ready with me where she's
fun.
showing us that New Balance is sending her like outfit sheets and she just has to put together her outfits.
New Balance currently has the reigning US Open champion and also the reigning
400-meter women's champion.
New Balance we got now. We got next? We got now.
No, they're really doing
a big one.
A big one right now with their sponsorships. I think it's Sydney McLaughlin that you're thinking about, the American runner. Recently, they asked Coco who are the sportsmen and women that she's excited to see at the Olympics, just like to bump into them. Obviously, she's on tour. You don't get to see her other sportswomen friends a lot. So the Olympics is that moment where they get to all be in the same place. And she said she's most excited to see Simone Biles and Sydney McLaughlin, which I thought was really cute.
I love her.
Yes, she's so sweet. Simone Biles is the oldest American gymnast to be competing at the Olympics.
I honestly didn't know that she was competing this year until
she just made the team last night. The Olympic trials concluded. She's in the number 1 spot for the Americans. There are actually a few people globally who could beat her, one being Rebecca Andrade from Brazil, which is so unusual, but she's the number 1 American right now.
Love it for her. I hope it goes well. That's her swan song of sorts.
Yeah. And speaking of Olympics, interesting for tennis because they're switching back to clay. And there've been a few like withdrawals.
Several withdrawals. Do you want the list?
Let's bring up the list.
Do you want the list?
This will be our segue to our next episode where let's figure out why this has been such a difficult one for the tennis players.
So I will start by saying that a lot of the players on the list that have withdrawn are Russian or Belarusian, which obviously Olympics is a team nationality sport. So if they can play under a quote unquote neutral flag, but like Olympics is about like it's a national competition.
Because who's paying the bills?
Yeah, so it's a bit strange. But not players who have qualified but are not playing are Arina Sabalenka, Ons Jabeur, Ludmila Samsonova, Elise Mertens, Andrei Rublev, Ben Shelton, Karen Khachanov, Miomir Kecmanovic, Laszlo Djere, Jiri Lehechka, Daria Kasatkina, Anna Kalinskaya, Anastasia Pavlenchkova, Anastasia Potapova, Sebastian Korda, Francis Tiafoe, Madison Keys, Adrian Manarino, and Jordan Thompson, who is Australian.
So yeah, overwhelmingly,
I don't know why I only said Jordan Thompson's nationality, but it just jumped out at me.
I mean, because we kind of know all the others and where they're from. So it seems like there are a lot of Russians, and then on the American side, quite a few players deciding not to play.
Jiri Lehechka is Czech. Or Polish? He's Czech. Elise Mertens is Swiss. Ons is Tunisia. Kecmanovic might be Serbian. Korda American, Tiafoe American, Keys American, Adrian Manarino is French.
I think for Ons, it's like why is she going back to clay? For what?
Yeah.
So
yeah. But we'll get deeper into the Olympianos next week. Next 2 weeks.
And for now, I think that's Game, Set, Chat.
Game, Set, Chat. Anything else?
No. Game, Set, Chat, baby.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in to our pilot first. What is the correct terminology for this? First?
Premiere.
That's the one. We hope you'll join us again in 2 weeks. This is going to be our little thing here that we're doing.
Our little Teapod.
Welcome to our little Teapod. We hope you enjoyed your first serving.
Catch us in 2 weeks where we go deeper into the Olympics and keep you up to date on everything tennis.
We'll be reviewing Wimby, no?
Yes. So
right? Wimby will be over, yeah.
So
no? Yes.
Check in with us in 2 weeks. We'll be overviewing the Olympics, going deeper into that, and then seeing the results of Wimbledon.
Big Wimby vibes.
Catch y'all later.
Bye, guys. Thanks. See ya.
Bye. Bisous, bisous.